Thank you very much. A special thank you to the Avery Goshall Trio, Simsbury High School students who are our jazz ensemble that started us off here tonight. I have another group to introduce you. Obviously in front of you here tonight are the Simsbury Singers led by Colleen Thompson. They're going to perform America the Beautiful for us to kick us off.
Congratulations to all of the inductees. As a choir teacher at Simsbury High School and a community member, I feel really proud to be living here in a place that supports the arts as well as athletics. We are going to perform one more song for you tonight. Is this okay? Time? These students were chosen among 170 applicants from across the country to perform at the 2019 National Association for Music Education Eastern Division Conference in Pittsburgh. So we're going to be traveling there in April, and we're hoping to be able to sing the national anthem for a Pirates game. That's going to be, we're hopefully a few weeks away from finding out if that's going to happen, but we wanted to just sing one song that will kind of highlight the level of this group, and then we'll let you get on with your evening. But we really are thankful to Mr. Petrina and Mr. Pinney for inviting us. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you, Simsbury Singers. I really don't want to follow them. That's tough to do. So if you haven't had an opportunity to be around Simsbury High School or public schools or the programs we've run in a long time, welcome back. That's the kind of thing that we're working on these days, and it's absolutely amazing to be a part of. My name is Jeff Pitney. I'm the Director of Athletics and Student Activities at Simsbury High School, and my role this evening is simply to kick things off and let you all be celebrated for the outstanding and amazing accomplishments that you've had for your many years here. A few people I'd like to thank before we get started. I'd like to thank the Riverview and their staff for hosting us here this evening. Thank you very much. I'd like to thank our title sponsor, Simsbury Bank, and Lori Ethier for being here this evening to represent them. Thank you very much. 3 years ago, I came into this role, and there was a wonderful idea out there of we needed to do more to celebrate the tradition and rich history of Simsbury athletics. And Mr. Petrina, the members of the Simsbury Trojans Hall of Fame committee, we've gotten together for the last couple of years. Last year we had a wonderful initial induction ceremony, and I was absolutely amazed at the quality of people that were there last year. And as we started this year, I couldn't be more proud to be part of this community because the quality of people this year is so much more. There is such a depth, there's such a history, there's such a rich tradition in this community. It's a wonderful place to be. Welcome back to those of you who haven't been here in a long time. We couldn't be happier to have you joining us here this evening and celebrate your successes because you have set the standard for our student athletes coming through now. I know there's a number of coaches in the room. We have young children. We live in town. We're hoping that those young people can live up to the traditions that you've set in this town in Simsbury. So thank you very much. I'm going to turn things over to Jay Reynolds, who's going to be our MC for this evening. Jay has spent the last 23 years at ESPN, anchoring Sports Center on ESPN Radio, and is currently the host of Sports Center All Night. He's a Simsbury native and an SHS alum. He and his family are here in Simsbury, and he is a current student athlete at SHS. In the spring, there's a pretty good chance that you're going to find him at Memorial Field, either on the baseball field with Babe Ruth or over on the softball field. He's a member of our coaching staff for our girls softball team and a volunteer. Thank you, Jay, for all that you do for us. The floor is yours. Have a wonderful evening, everybody.
We are here tonight to honor some of the greatest accomplishments that our high school has on record. There have been times where some folks will look at our standout athletes or one of the dominant sports programs that we have and they say, oh, there must be something in the water over there in Simsbury. As Jeff mentioned, I am a Simsbury native, born and raised here, and I can assure you there's nothing in the water. I've been drinking it my entire life, out of a tap, sometimes out of a garden hose. I probably swallowed some while swimming out of town forest. If there was something in the water, I'd be sitting here being honored tonight like you. The only way I'm invited here tonight is to do this. You have a program in front of you that notes the accomplishments of the folks that we are honoring tonight. It's sometimes hard to compare different sports and different generations, so allow me to help a little. I'll begin the evening by listing my accomplishments at Simsbury High School. And for the sake of time, I would ask that you wait till the end for your applause. Diploma. I kid. I think I did have a hall pass in there somewhere for third period. Just wanted you to have some kind of context, something to help us appreciate the impressive resumes that tonight's honorees have put together, especially during their time at Simsbury High School. As Jeff mentioned, this is our second annual induction ceremony. Happy to have some of the members of the class of 2018 with us this evening. Round of applause for them, if you would. As I look at the class of 2019, it's outstanding. I consider it just a continuation of last year's induction. It's kind of like at Thanksgiving when you take that break to kind of undo a notch in your belt loop and then you sit right back down and continue with dinner. Because it's so good. That's what we've done essentially. Everybody is listed in the program that you have in front of you. For the benefit of those watching at home, allow me to highlight some of their accomplishments, and we will start with Brian Coombes. If you were coaching basketball in the 1970s, there's a simple game plan to follow. Give the ball to Julius Erving. If you didn't have Dr. J on your team, just give the ball to Brian Coombes. He's a member of the Simsbury Class of 1973 and a basketball standout. In his junior and senior seasons at Simsbury, he averaged more than 20 points per game. In those 2 varsity seasons, he scored more than 900 points. In February of 1973, he set the single game scoring record of 44 points. In 1973, Brian was honored as a first-team All-Suburban player, first-team Class L All-State. He was selected to the state Class L and Double L All-Star team. In 1999, he was named as one of Simsbury's best athletes of the century by the Hartford Courant. He went on to play at Hamilton College, where he scored more than 1,200 career points and had more than 500 rebounds. Graduated as the 3rd leading scorer in school history. Hamilton was nationally ranked in the top 10 both his junior and senior seasons. Brian also played post-college, a couple of seasons with the New England Basketball Association. His team won the championship in 1980. He played professionally for Birmingham, England in the English Basketball League, averaging 20 points and 10 rebounds per game. Brian's family was raised here, all 3 children, products of Simsbury High School. You probably know Brian's voice, especially those of you who watch SCTV on a regular basis. He's been part of our broadcast team for Simsbury basketball for 15 years and football for 8. And now we hear him here as well. Congratulations, Simsbury Trojans 2019 Hall of Fame inductee, Brian Coombes.
Thank you, Jay, for that introduction. I can assure you I won't be singing tonight, so you're lucky there. I wanted to start by thanking Jeff Pinney and Steve Petrina for all their hard work with the Hall of Fame. They do a fabulous job. I'd also like to thank the Hall of Fame committee. They're all volunteers. They do a tremendous amount of work. I know they put in countless hours to make an event like this happen. I'd also like to thank Principal O'Brien and the Simsbury High School administration and the Board of Ed. I'd like to congratulate the other inductees and as well as last year's class. It's an honor for me to be associated with such an outstanding group of people and athletes. When I think back on my time at Simsbury High, I realize I received a quality education which combined with a great experience playing in a very high level basketball program helped to prepare me for life's challenges and opportunities. The core values of teamwork, dedication to excellence, and hard work that I learned during my years at Simsbury have helped me in every aspect of my life. Thinking back on our Simsbury High School teams in 1972 and 1973, I realized that the makeup of those teams was pretty unique. Our 72 team was comprised of just 10 juniors. The fact that we did not have any seniors on the team is pretty unusual. And then in 1973, we did not have, it was all juniors, all seniors, excuse me, except for some JV players that suited up for varsity games. So we had the exact same players both years. I don't think that Jeff and Coach Stillman would allow that to happen today. Not great for building a program. In addition, our coach, Jim Lombard, coached for just those 2 seasons, and his brother Fred was on our team. The 5 starters on the 72 and the 73 team were the same 5 players that started for our Simsbury St. Mary's team in 1969. That team went 30-1. Our only loss was in the New England CYO finals. Without a doubt, the camaraderie and teamwork we developed playing together for 5 years enabled our high school team to be very successful. Out of those 5 starters for that 8th grade St. Mary's team, 3 went on to play college sports in sports other than basketball. Jim Evans played soccer at UConn, Jim Pelcher played football at Central Connecticut, Pete Bogus played baseball also at Central, and Rich Pope, our 4th starter, was an amazing all-around athlete and a great track athlete. I was actually probably the worst athlete of that group. I vividly remember my last game at Simsbury High in 1973. We played our arch rival Bloomfield High in the quarterfinals of the state tournament. Our games against Bloomfield have been extremely competitive and very intense over the past 2 years. The tournament game was at New Britain High School and the gym was packed with over 2,000 fans. Bloomfield had a great team that year. They came in undefeated. The game was a classic Simsbury-Bloomfield battle, but we ended up losing by 2 points in overtime. For some reason, at the end of the game, several fans stormed the court and started assaulting all players in sight. Of course, a huge brawl ensued that had to be broken up by the police. I remember that our team needed the police to help us to our locker room and then escort us to our bus at the end of the game. That was a wild way to conclude my high school career. The values that I learned at Simsbury High helped me as I transitioned to Hamilton College in upstate New York. My freshman season, we struggled to a 500 record. However, over the next 3 seasons, great teamwork and hard work enabled my teammates and I to take our team to another level. We were fortunate to add 2 players that went on to become 2,000 point scorers in their career, so that didn't hurt. One of those players was named the Division III National Player of the Year both his junior and senior seasons, and he was drafted by the Atlanta Hawks. In my final 2 years at Hamilton, our team was ranked in the top 10 nationally. Unfortunately, we never got an opportunity to play for a national championship because back then the NESCAC conference didn't let their teams participate in the NCAA tournament because they believed that student athletes would spend too much time away from their classes and could hurt their grades. I don't think it would have hurt my grades, it may have even helped. After graduating from Hamilton, I had an opportunity to play professionally in England. Living and playing in a foreign country was a great cultural experience. Basketball was becoming very popular in the late 70s, early 80s. I had a great time and met a lot of wonderful people. I believe I left England with 3 major accomplishments. One, in Europe, each team is allowed 2 foreign players, and my American teammate and I led our team to a 2nd place finish in Division II of the English Basketball League. Our 2nd place finish earned the team a promotion to the 1st division the following season. There was a lot of pressure throughout the season from the team owners to win because they wanted to get promoted to the 1st division. Winning consistently all season definitely helped to ensure that we received our paycheck each month. I heard that some team owners tried to stop paying players after their team was eliminated from finishing in the top 2 spots in the league. The team paid for our room and board, and my American teammate and I lived in rooms above an English pub. Needless to say, we spent a lot of time in the pub getting to know the patrons and the owners. So my 2nd accomplishment was I learned how to tend bar and to manage the finances of a pub. Definitely very, very valuable life skills. My 3rd accomplishment was that I survived driving the streets of England in an MG sports car with a manual transmission, driving on the left side of the road, and shifting gears with my left hand. Every time I entered a rotary, or a roundabout as it's called in England, traveling about 50 miles an hour, I had to make a quick decision. Do I go left or do I go right around the roundabout? Fortunately, I did guess correctly most of the time. In conclusion, I'd like to thank my parents for always supporting me. They went to every game that I can remember. They really had a great time. They even went over to England to watch me play. I want to thank my wonderful family for being here to support me, along with 3 great teammates and friends that are here as well. We may be old and slow now, but we can sure talk a good game. Thank you.
Brian, you earned this. You can take it with you. Having been overseas within the past year, he's even more accomplished than I am there because I was given a manual transmission and I said, no, give me an automatic. Eldridge, Morgan, Kangaroo, Crunch, Tennille. If we were playing the $10,000 pyramid, you'd say things associated with Captain. I know it's Captain Crunch with no T, but that's just a technicality. Tim Eldridge, class of 1994, football, basketball, lacrosse. 3-sport athlete, 3-sport captain. In basketball, Tim was captain his junior and senior seasons, and naming a junior as a team captain was really a rarity for Coach Schwartz. Tim received all-conference recognition his senior year. In lacrosse, his junior year, 43 goals, 33 assists. He was named all-conference and all-Northern Connecticut. His senior season, as captain, 51 goals, 56 assists. Again, named all-conference and all-Northern Connecticut. Simsbury won the conference title and reached the state semis that year. Football, Simsbury won 3 consecutive conference championships between 1991 and 93, reaching the state final in 1993. In his junior year, Tim was an all-conference defensive back and an all-state running back. He set single-season school records for yards rushing and touchdowns scored as a junior. Senior year, as captain, broke both of those marks and set new single-season records for rushing yards and touchdowns, and he was named All-State both as a running back and defensive back. After Simsbury, Tim played 4 years of lacrosse at Penn State. 3 times Penn State finished the season ranked in the top 15 nationally. He earned all Big Ten academic honors, and yes, in his senior season, he was captain. Congratulations, Simsbury Trojans 2019 Hall of Fame inductee, Tim Eldridge.
Wow, this is great. First off, I'd like to thank the committee for putting on such a special event and selecting me this year to be in the Simsbury Hall of Fame. Although my name is going to be on the plaque that goes up in Simsbury High School, and I'm proud of it, there is no way that I could achieve this award without an outstanding group of people around me. And I'd like to share tonight that recognition with my family, my coaches, and my teammates. First and foremost, it starts with family. My brother Scott and sister Jessica were both great athletes in their day. Scott, my older brother, thanks for the beatdowns in the backyard. Toughening me up a little bit, and he reminded me about that this morning, by the way. So he hasn't forgotten about that. And Jessica, thank you for the humbling experience of occasionally beating me and me losing to my younger sister. That's a little embarrassing. Though we had heated competitions on a regular basis, at the end of the day, you both supported me and were excited about my success along the way. Thank you. Mom and Dad, you were completely unselfish by dedicating so much time to travel for all those practices and games over the years. You both offered plenty of advice and support along the way, some of which I listened to and some of which I didn't. One lesson from my dad I do want to share with you tonight that I still remember today was in YMCA basketball. I was struggling shooting and scoring the ball. I was getting discouraged and concerned I wasn't going to play a lot if I can't make a basket. He said, as long as you hustle, rebound, play defense, and go for loose balls, any good coach will want you on the court or the field. That was great advice. That helped me build a strong work ethic and focus on all fundamentals of the game I played. Thank you for the tip, Dad. And don't ever say I don't listen to you. Now on to my coaches, unbelievably dedicated and talented individuals. Coach Grace in football, Coach Schwartz in basketball, Coach Gillis in lacrosse. All three were very unique in their coaching styles, but all three were highly successful in three things, which were developing individual players, building winning teams, and preparing kids for life after high school. Thanks to all three of you for having confidence in me along the way, whether it was giving me the football 20 to 30 times a game, or giving me the green light to run the offense in basketball or lacrosse. You each provided me with an amazing high school experience and prepared me to play college athletics at Penn State. I truly thank each of you for that. Please give them a round of applause. And then thirdly is the teammates. I had some amazing teammates in high school. Many of them are now lifelong friends. Two of them are here with me today. Sean Cavanaugh, a defensive back, great tackler, hard hitter, rung my bell several times. Thanks for that. And Brian Wilson, a midi on the lacrosse team and the fullback in football. He led the way for a lot of those touchdowns I scored. Thank you for that. And another guy here tonight, a lot of you already know, an inductee last year, Mike Hood, outstanding quarterback from Simsbury High School. As for today, I now live in Wilmington, North Carolina with my wife, Meg, and my two daughters, Kate and Lane. Thank you for supporting my continued love for sports, both coaching and playing. Golf is actually my biggest hobby at this point. I say I don't play enough. My wife says I play too much. But our 4-year-old is the one that settles that argument because she wakes up in the morning and she asks, "Daddy, are you working or playing golf today?" That does not help my side of the argument. Thanks, Lane. In closing, I consider myself extremely fortunate to have the opportunity and success that I had at Simsbury High School. I am happy to celebrate this award tonight with my family, my coaches, my teammates. Thank you, Simsbury High School. Appreciate it.
Not to play favorites, but I will admit that I am a little partial to the class of '86. There were probably some in town who thought the H in SHS stood for Hatton. Peter Hatton spent the fall and spring seasons outside. His winters were spent indoors on the mat and usually on top of some other poor wrestler. In football, Pete spent 3 years at the varsity level, including captain his senior season. Twice he was all-conference. His senior year, all-conference on both offense as a fullback and defense as a linebacker. As a wrestler, Pete put an already respected Simsbury program really on the map. He was team captain his junior and senior years. He wrestled 119 times in high school. He won 108 of them. He was the first member of the 100 Win Club, the first wrestler with 4 all-conference honors, first and still only wrestler to place in the state division 4 times. His junior year, Pete won the state double L title, making the Hattons the first brothers to each win individual state titles. His brother Jeff had won the Class L title in 1983. Pete reached the state open finals twice, and in his senior year of 1986 was the state open champion. He wasn't done. From there he went outside to lacrosse. Junior and senior seasons, 58 goals, 25 assists, all state in both of those seasons, and all-American his senior year of 1986. After Simsbury, Pete continued wrestling and playing lacrosse at Penn State. There's a theme tonight. He has coached football and wrestling, He has led 2 wrestling teams to state championships. Pete and his family are now living in Oklahoma. We're thrilled to have him back in Simsbury this week. I'm proud to have him as a classmate and a friend. Congratulations, Simsbury Trojans 2019 Hall of Fame inductee, Peter Hatton.
Wow. All right, first things first, I want this table to stand up over here so everybody can see them. Stand up, boys. Get up, get up, get up, get up in that table. All right. Now, if they would have been that big when we were in high school, I could have rushed for 2,000 yards behind that line. Come on, man. We all got our dad bods now, though. Oh, man. First of all, when I was told what time of year this banquet was going to be, I told my wife, I was just like, we might get snowed in this time of year if we go up there. And little did I know that we almost got snowed in Oklahoma City and didn't make it here. But we're here. And so what I want to do is give a mixture of how we got here, and then I want to honor those who made it possible for me to be here. First of all, it's hard to imagine that a chubby junior high kid from Texas made it here. And you have to understand something about where we grew up in Houston. Moving to Simsbury, Connecticut was like moving to a foreign country. It was not an easy transition for a kid who had cowboy boots, who had his name on the back of his belt, and had a huge belt buckle that said Skull, and it had a bull rider on it. But here's the catch. It says, if you're dipping, you ain't flipping. So needless to say, I did not fit in with the preppy, chino, Izod crowd here. But it was sports that became the outlet for my brother and I to make our way into this little community. Now, coming from a state where football is king to a place where soccer is king, and coming from a high school that had the largest weight room in the country in Houston, to a high school that had a closet with no free weights and only a Nautilus machine was an absolute culture shock. Now, my brother, when we came here, y'all got to get this picture, he was a freak of nature. He started lifting in 6th grade when we lived in Texas. And when he came here as a freshman, he was bench pressing 300 pounds. So he was one of the strongest kids in the high school as a freshman. And he's the one who paved the way for the Hatton name. And I will say this about him, he ought to be a candidate for this honor as well. Jeff made it easier for me to be known and to receive recognition my sophomore year because everybody knew the Hatton name. As I said, he was a freak of nature, and it was because of how difficult the move was from Texas to here. We fought a lot. 6 o'clock was my daily beating time when he came home. I knew after practice he'd be so frustrated he'd come home and take it out on me. But these years made me tougher, and it also made me learn to respect those who were better than me. And so, Jeff, I have to say to you, you will always be better than me. Throughout our lives, and even to this day, I am absolutely indebted to how God has used my brother to shape and mold me to be the man that I am today. But it was the fighting that also got me into wrestling, because we fought so much at our house and we broke so many things in our house that my dad finally went to Coach Shaves and said, hey, can my chubby son come up as a junior hire and wrestle with the high school to take out some of this aggression? And so I did. They got so sick of it, and so he did. He talked to Coach Shaves. Coach Shaves let me come. I used to walk over every day after school at Henry James, go through Hot Meadow illegally and cross that pond, that stream, and get to the high school and practice with them. And I'm going to come back to wrestling in a minute, because junior high is also where I broke my dad's heart. My dad was drafted by the Cleveland Indians out of high school to play baseball. So he worked with me all these years in Texas, and then we moved to Connecticut, and I discovered something I've never heard of or never seen before, the sport of lacrosse. And I broke my dad's heart in 8th grade when I gave up baseball to focus on lacrosse. Because when I discovered that I could hit people with a stick and get away with it, man, I was like, I knew I had to try this. And this is where Coach Rich Keegan comes into the picture. I learned many things from lacrosse, but Coach Keegan made me an All-American. He worked many, many hours with me individually after practice, teaching me the game, how to face off. But the one thing he said to me, he says, if you ever want to be successful in this sport, you have to be successful with both hands. So you need to work on your left-handed coordination. So he had me do everything left-handed. I ate left-handed. I brushed my teeth left-handed. I tried to write left-handed. And ultimately it paid off, because all the time I spent working on my left hand, throwing up against that brick wall at Henry James, hours upon hours during the summer, paid off. But it was also the players who went before me, because they were great players, great lacrosse players at Simsbury. And it was them and playing with them all 4 years that they made me better. And I want to thank them for helping me to be the player that I ended up becoming. Lacrosse is a team sport. And without the great players ahead of me and without the great coaching from Coach Keegan, I would not have been able to be honored as an All-American and then go on to play at Penn State as well. So, man, we got 2 Penn State lacrosse players here. Tim, great job, baby. Yes. And I got to give one quick story about Coach Keegan. Now, I was not the best student in high school. I had the notion that if you were good enough, college coaches would get you in. No, that was not the case. And I learned real quick because I paid for it by going to prep school for a year. But it was my senior year that I was getting letters from Duke, from Brown, from Yale. And I'm like, Coach, what are you doing contacting these schools knowing that I can't get into them? And I'll never forget what he said. He said, you're an idiot if you think I contacted these schools because I know you couldn't get into them. So thank you for being so honest and blunt with me, Coach. Oh, man. Now, lacrosse was my best sport on a national level, but wrestling was my love. And so was football. But wrestling was what captured my heart, and I learned to love wrestling because of Coach Frank Shaves. Practicing with the junior high, or practicing with the high school as a junior high kid. Where's John Hagan? Where was John? I saw him. He was here and he left, yeah. Because John was the lightweight. He was one of the only kids I could go with. But I used to roll around with the high school kids, get pounded on. And I used to play wrestle with Coach Shaves and also with his assistant Joey Callahan. And it was that play wrestling over and over and over again that I learned not just technique, but learned how to wrestle. I learned how to get a feel for wrestling and learn how to anticipate what your opponent was going to do. But it was my senior year when I truly learned the difference between wrestling and other sports. As I said, lacrosse and football, they're team sports. Wrestling is an individual sport. All eyes are on you on the mat. You have nowhere to escape if you make a mistake. Everybody can see if you quit for a split second. And when you truly mess up and fail, you're the only one to blame because you can't blame the 10 other guys with you. Wrestling, I would argue, is the most physically and emotionally demanding sport that there is. And we can argue that, but not now, since I have the mic. It was my junior year. I went undefeated until I lost in the state open finals. So come senior year, I had a lot of pressure on me. I put so much pressure on myself to win that I would get so nervous before wrestling matches. It didn't matter who I wrestled. It could be the worst kid in the state. But I got so nervous that my stomach literally would become sick if I exerted too much energy, and I'd throw up on the mat, which was not a very pleasant thing. So my senior year, because of this, I wrestled not to lose instead of wrestling to win. And I didn't lose until the Class LL finals against a kid that I beat in the finals the previous year. And I was devastated by that loss, and I went under the stands, and I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to face anybody. I was humiliated, and I was absolutely devastated. But 3 people came to me in that humiliated, devastated condition. My dad came and said, son, I just want you to know how much I love you. My brother, Jeff, He came and he said, I wish it was me. I wish I could carry the pain. I wish I could take that loss so you wouldn't be experiencing what you're experiencing. And then Coach Shaves, and the only way that Coach Shaves can, I can't recollect because I don't know if I can say it, but Coach Shaves said something along the lines of, now the pressure's off. Now the pressure's off, you've lost. Be free. And next week, come back and do what I know you can do. I didn't want to wrestle the next week in the open tournament, but my family and Coach Shaves, they kept encouraging me and kept prodding me and kept motivating me. And it wasn't until the day before the state open tournament that I finally felt free from the pressure of losing. And this is what I want to leave you with, because if you look at the program, you may not know, I'm a pastor, and pastors preach, preachers preach, right? So I get to preach now. And this is what I want to leave you with. My whole athletic life was spent trying to find an identity and meaning from my accomplishments in winning and being the best. My athletic performance defined who I was. When I did well, I loved the applause, and I thought and felt I'm somebody now. But who am I now that I lost? Who am I now that I'm not the best? And the answer came from 3 people that came under the stands to see me. From my dad, who told me that I love you no matter what. From Coach Shaves, who urged and encouraged me to wrestle free. And then to my brother, who pointed me not to trust in my performance to find my identity, but to trust in the performance of another to give me an identity. To trust in the performance of the one who left heaven to take on flesh and become like us. Jesus Christ, who lived for us and died for us so that we could know how much God loves us. It was when I began to trust in the performance of Jesus that I became free. Free from worrying what other people thought about me. Free from worrying whether I was good enough. Jesus took upon himself everything that is bad about me and gave me everything that is good about him. And when I got that, I became free from myself. And that open tournament, I wrestled that way. And I accomplished what Coach Shaves knew I could do. Today, I am a husband to an incredible wife, and I will say I married way above my head and way above my pay grade. I am a dad to 3 incredible children, and I am a pastor, which means I'm a shepherd of souls. I am a shepherd to lead people to the Lamb of God who takes away the sin of the world. I would not be the husband, the father, or the pastor I am without my experiences here in Simsbury, Connecticut. So I want to thank my mom and dad for loving me and sacrificing so much for me. And I want to say to all of you parents out there, dads in particular, you better be at all of your kids' events because it means more to them than you will ever know. It meant more to me than my dad will ever know that he was at every football game, every lacrosse game, in spite of his business schedule and travel, and every wrestling match. He was there, and so was my mom. And then I want to thank my teammates for pushing me, for making me better, because y'all are the only reason why I'm here. So thank you very much. To the coaches, I want to thank you for teaching me more than sports. You taught me about life. You taught me what it means to be a man in this life, and that life isn't easy. It's hard, and it takes sacrifice, and I thank you for it. And then I want to thank Simsbury, gosh, teachers, friends, neighbors, for shaping me and molding me into the man that I am today. And then to my brother, Jeff, your actions under the bleachers made Jesus' willing sacrifice more real to me because of what you said. You're the best. and I want everybody to know it. And I also want to thank the other inductees. What an honor it is to be up here with you. And I want to thank the selection committee and all the work that you have done to make this possible. This has been awesome. I have not been back here in, golly, it's been 20 years. I've been back once, that's it. And I love seeing everybody. Thank you for coming out and celebrating this with me.
Amen. Much like Dick Clark had a standing date on New Year's Eve in Times Square, or LeBron James has had a standing date in the NBA Finals, the Hood family has had a standing date here with us at the induction ceremonies. Mike Hood, a member of the class of 2018. Bragging rights, however, didn't last very long, as Brian Hood is being inducted this evening. Brian is a member of the class of 1998. His career at Simsbury earned him 10 varsity letters in 3 sports: football, hockey, baseball, and he was captain of each. He was named to all conference teams 8 times. In football, he was a 3-year varsity player at quarterback and tight end. He was an all-conference tight end in 1996 and all-conference quarterback in 1997. He was an honorable mention for all-state quarterback in 97. On the ice, he played varsity hockey for 4 years, 3-time all-conference player, first-team all-state in 1997. He was part of 4 CCC West champion teams. He was a member of the team that was the state runner-up in 1997. Baseball, he spent 3 years on varsity, all-conference each year. The team was CCC West champs his junior and senior years. Simsbury won the state championship in 1997. Brian, as you may know, crushed a grand slam out of Palmer Field as Simsbury beat Southington 6-4. Simsbury finished the 1997 season ranked 10th in the East by USA Today. Brian would go on to play both football and baseball at Dartmouth, recognized with the 12th Man Award for his efforts in football. Brian and his family live in Colorado in Evergreen. If you're a fan of the Christmas movies on the Hallmark Channel, you're familiar with that area. Great to have him back in Simsbury this week on the East Coast. Congratulations, Simsbury Trojans 2019 Hall of Fame inductee, Brian Hood.
Thanks for the introduction. So I'll make a prediction, right now that I am going to be the first and last person up here to ever win a 12th Man Award in college. If you know what that means, it means I wasn't on the field in the first 11. But just my luck, the individual who started in front of me was drafted, and he played 7 years in the NFL. And speaking of just my luck, I'm also following a pastor. So we're going to make this very, very short. I mean, what a fantastic accomplishment. I don't know if he's probably in the bathroom right now, but this truly is quite an honor. And truly, first off, congratulations to all the honorees. There's some folks who were honored last year, folks honored this year. Secondly, Coach Petrina, I mean, what a fantastic job you've put on, Jeff. What a fantastic job. I mean, this truly is, over the top. So, good job. So as you heard, I live in Hallmark Channel land, out in Colorado, and truly, I haven't been back here much. I've been out there for 15 years. I've got a a beautiful wife, Shanna, my daughter Charlie, who's 8 years old, and my daughter Dylan over here, who's 6 years old, who are fantastic athletes, and in their own right. But coming back here really brings up a lot of great memories, and I wish I came back here more. Right? I mean, Colorado is great. We don't have this weather, by the way, in Colorado. It either snows or it's sunny. But it truly is so special, and there's so many people here that I need to recognize. So first off, with the coaches, Coach Griggs, thank you so much. You have spent so much time with me. Even the years that I, wasn't the quarterback, I remember going down in your basement, probably the only guy who has an overhead projector in the basement. You probably still have it. Teaching the offense, Mrs. Grace, thank you for the 4 donuts every time I came over in the spring. To hockey, and I don't know where Coach Cross, Coach Matheson, thank you. I mean, you talk about fantastic, hockey players, fantastic people. These are 2 individuals who, I found out today, coached high school hockey for 32 years, right? 32 years for Coach Cross, 34 years for Dave Matheson. But they taught so much about hockey. They had the perfect offense for us, and truly, thank you for everything. Coach Schwartz, you're incredible. I don't know how you spent all day with high school kids, and then went to more high school kids, and then would pitch extra BP to me and hit extra grounders. I mean, it meant everything in the world to me. I see Tim back there. Is Tom here by chance? No, Tommy's not here. So Tom Vincent, you talk about somebody else who's unbelievably unselfish and selfless. He spent all his summers in American Legion baseball. I know this is a Simsbury High School thing, but all summer, every night, going to baseball games and coaching us. And then Emmy, who's sitting with us tonight. Thank you for everything. And it sounds like everybody knows Emmy. But I got to tell you, the people that I just named. I mean, that's Simsbury High School sports, right? I mean, those are the people that makes this possible. And I can't say enough for all of you. You mean the world to me, and coming back here just brings up so many memories. So again, thank you. So one of the things that you'll see in your program is apparently I had and this must have been Katrina's doing, but the most memorable individual multi-sport year in the history of Simsbury High School. And let's walk through it a little bit because I'm up here and I've got the microphone. But in football, right? We ended up going 9-1-1. It was my junior year. We had probably the best conference that CCC West ever had. We had the old Weaver Beavers, who, when you think about Weaver, they were probably one of the best teams that Connecticut has ever seen. They had a running back who was a 4-year starter at Syracuse, who also, I looked up, still holds the record for the 55-meter in LaTroy Oliver, right? And we ended up losing to Weaver. But the team that we tied, which we still should have beaten, we missed a last-second field goal, and we still wouldn't have made the playoffs because that was not the time where everybody gets a trophy. But we tied a team that had 2 future NFL stars, right? And one of them is going to go into the Hall of Fame, and it's not the high school Hall of Fame. It's going to be the NFL Hall of Fame. So, and that's a team we tied. I mean, it was a fantastic year. And then going straight into hockey, that year really was special. I mean, that was a year that was, we had great leadership, we had a great team, we played within ourselves, and ultimately we ended up losing in the finals to Notre Dame West Haven. And as Coach Krogh said, we can play them 100 times and we would never have played that badly. I mean, it was bad, right at the mall. It was terrible. But then you come to baseball, and the aforementioned grand slam off off a Southington pitcher who ultimately was drafted and highly decorated. What a great time, right? I mean, that was truly was special. And when I think about Simsbury High School, it truly is that year. So I mean, you think about one of the best years ever. You think about 9-1-1. You think about hockey title that we lost. You think about a Simsbury High School baseball title, and somehow the committee still puts Mike in before me. You want to stand up too? So, I mean, nobody ever says Marino or Jim Kelly had a better career than Elway. And I'm in the Elway camp. My little brother's in the Elway camp, but that's Jim Kelly over there. So, but obviously he was a big influence in my life, and I thank you. And lastly, and I left this purposely, for to talk about last, but Mom and Dad, I really don't know how you did it. There's four of us. Yeah, I mean, it really was special. I mean, you gave up so much for us, and thank you. I truly thank you. So thank you, everybody.
This is really apropos of nothing, but since the state baseball final that year was at Palmer Field, a very quick story about Palmer Field. The American Legion World Series was held there in the late 90s, and as part of the promotional part, ESPN was taking on a team of, as they put it to me when they drafted me to be on the team, they said, we're putting together some former Major League Baseball players, some all-time greats, Fergie Jenkins, Brooks Robinson. Would you like to take part in this game? I said, absolutely. Well, it turns out Fergie Jenkins was the manager of one team, Brooks Robinson was the manager of the other. Everybody else on the field was retired from baseball for about 2.5 weeks. We got killed. They gave us wood bats, and I don't think we put the ball in play. So to hit it, but just standing at home plate, seeing how far that fence was at Palmer Field, that's quite impressive. Congratulations. If this was Sesame Street, this evening would be brought to you by the letter S and a lot of those letters, varsity letters. Ron Krogh, member of the class of 1965, he left Simsbury with a remarkable resume. During his time here, Ron earned 11 varsity letters in 4 sports. Ron spent the fall seasons, freshman and sophomore years on the varsity soccer team, and then switched over to football for junior and senior seasons where he was a 2-time all-conference player. He spent 4 years at the varsity level in basketball, earning multiple all-conference awards. And in the spring, it was baseball. All 4 years at the varsity level, multiple all-conference awards, a member of 2 conference championship teams, and a member of the state championship baseball team of 1963. Ron continued both football and baseball at Illinois Wesleyan. He played 4 years of varsity in each sport, earned all-conference honors in both sports. He was a 3-time all-conference player in baseball. He was captain of the baseball team his senior season. He earned the Honor of the Titans Award, which is given to the top senior athlete at the school. He spent the summer of 1967 playing in the Cape Cod League. Ron retired to Florida a few years ago, but before that was a lifelong Simsbury resident. Both of his daughters graduated from Simsbury High School. Ron still has quite a few members of his extended family in town. I am proud to say, as his cousin, once removed, I am one of them. Congratulations, Simsbury Trojans 2019 Hall of Fame inductee, Ron Krogh.
first, I want to thank Brian for going between me and the preacher. A lot of what I had to say is a lot of what's already been said. First, the committee, wonderful job you've done. The work you've done in 2 years' time is remarkable, really remarkable, and you should be congratulated. Next, the other honorees. Everybody last year, this year, congratulations to all of you, especially Joan Sullivan, who she's the only coach that was there when I was there playing this year tonight. Didn't coach me, but and in that, I'd like to thank all my coaches I did have. I had Russ Scholes for soccer, Rolly Morrison, who recently passed away in the past year, for football, Jack Wilson for basketball, and Ed Lowndes for baseball. One other person I'd like to recognize from the days in Simsbury who was an educator was Dick Dart. I think most people know him, and he was a teacher, a math teacher, but going to the thing that said about me playing in the Cape Cod League in 1967, well, I played up there because of Dick Dart. He was very close friends with Dave Gavitt, who was my coach, and I think most of us know who Dave Gavitt is, or was, he passed away also. But Dick Dart happened to teach up in his early days in New Hampshire, and Dave Gavitt was his star basketball player in high school, and they had a connection their entire lives, and he hooked me up with Dave Gavitt, and that's how I ended up in the Cape Cod League. I want to thank all my family and my friends that are here, my brother Ted, my daughters Sharon and Debbie. They all graduated from Simsbury High School here. I want to thank my wife for making this trip up from, and she is my rock at making that trip up from Florida this time of the year. Like somebody else mentioned, I can't believe I'm here for this time of the year again. I want to thank my parents. As everybody else said, they were a big part of me being up here. They attended all the games. My father coached the American Legion team for years before Tommy took it over. My mother was always there, didn't miss a single game. A little bit about what I remember in high school, because it was so long ago, as Brian reminded me when we were over there that I was the elder statesman. I think I'm the old man in the group that got in. But the highlight was winning the state championship in 1963. Simsbury hadn't won many state championships, if any, that I could recall before that. I think they won a couple in basketball. It was the first state championship in a long time for a Simsbury High athletic team. The real unique thing with that team is we had 6 sophomores in the starting lineup when we won the championship and the semifinal game. We won the semifinal game over the #1 ranked team in the state down in Waterbury, and that was St. Thomas Aquinas, and we won 1-0. My cousin Vinny, who was here earlier, was one of the pitchers in that game that shut them out. Then we went on and we played at Muzzy Field for the state championship, and we beat a very good Rockville team down in Bristol. And fortunately in that game, I scored both runs in the 2-0 victory, and my cousin Gary Cuckle, our third baseman, one of the non-sophomores on the team, he drove me in with both runs, and he happens to be Day Reynolds' uncle. So as you get, there's a lot of relatives in here. What happened, you would have thought, you would have seen more maybe state championships or more out of that group of young men from that sophomore year. Our junior year, we had a much better team, and we went into the state tournament ranked #1 in the state. I don't know how many games we lost, only 1 or 2 games all year. And in the tournament, we lost to Northwest Catholic 4-3. Learned a lot in that game, and that we went into the last inning with a 3-1 lead, right? We got the first 2 batters out from the other team. We had the best pitcher in the state on the mound, Doug Dianis, and we lost the game. We stood there, and you've never seen kids in shock. You know, how could we lose that game? But we did, and learned a lot. But anyway, we thought, well, we got 1 more year, we're still all together, we'll do it next year. Well, a lot of things happened between that time and the next baseball season. First thing, that Doug Dianis was the #1 pitcher, and you need a pitcher to win a state championship like him. Well, his family moved to the Carolinas. His father got transferred, and he moved out of state, so we lost him. Then about a month before the baseball season was going to start, 2 of our players came down with hepatitis, right? One of them, Bob Blanton, who was our all-star first baseman, who'd been on the team since I think he was a freshman also, he passed away before the baseball season started. And then I was the other individual who had hepatitis. I obviously survived, but, and thankfully, but anyway, I missed a good portion of the baseball season also. So that young group of sophomores who accomplished the highest thing you probably could accomplish in high school sports, you know, went through a lot in the next 2 years, but we learned a lot from that. We learned a lot of lessons we learned. One other thing I noticed in this, and I've got Brian Coombes owns an individual scoring record here in Simsbury basketball at 44 points. Well, the 2 individuals that held that record prior to Brian are both here tonight. First is another cousin, Tim Vincent, back there. He had 42, and Brian broke his record. And the other individual who had 40 points before Tim broke his record is standing up here. It didn't last very long. I think it was only 3 years or 4 years after that. But, you know, in thinking about that, I was sitting over there a little while ago thinking, well, we didn't have the 3-point shot when we played. You know, and I know I shot a lot from the outside. And I was trying to calculate, well, I think I maybe had 50 points, not 40. So I'm sure Tim can recalculate and he'll beat me. And in the end, Brian will still end up with a record when he recalculates. But anyway, it really has been quite an honor to receive this award. I appreciate all of you being here and everything that everyone has done to make this Hall of Fame what it is. Again, thank you.
Ron mentioned my uncles and the Vincents, and you know, anytime we got the family together, I didn't have a chance if we played basketball or wiffle ball or anything. It was embarrassing. Lisa Griswold Lindley, member of the class of 1982, but it certainly doesn't end there. 4 years of field hockey, 4 years of basketball. She was a 4-time all-league player at each sport. She was a 2-time all-state player in basketball and a 3-time all-state player in field hockey. In basketball, she was a member of the 1,000-point club, scored over 1,000 points her junior year. She set and still holds Simsbury's record for the most points scored, 590. Didn't want to chip to 20 points there. In field hockey, in addition to all-league and all-state, she led Simsbury to a state championship in 1980. After Simsbury High, Lisa played both field hockey and lacrosse. At UMass, in field hockey, she was a 2-time All-American in 85 and 86. In lacrosse, 2nd-team All-American in 1986 and 1987. Lisa was a member of U.S. Lacrosse from 1987 to 1992, named to the U23 team in 1987. In 1989, named to the U.S. Lacrosse World Cup team. Lisa is currently the varsity lacrosse coach at Darien High School. She's the driving force behind 17 league titles and 16 state championships. She's had the top-ranked team in the state for the past decade. Starting in 2013, she ran off a string of 5 straight years as Connecticut Lacrosse Coach of the Year. And let this one sink in. She has coached 145 all-state players and 60 All-Americans. Lisa is a member of the Connecticut Lacrosse Hall of Fame and the UMass Hall of Fame. Those, of course, now pale in comparison. Congratulations, Simsbury Trojans 2019 Hall of Fame inductee, Lisa Griswold Lindley.
Thank you. I am truly honored to be here tonight. It's hard to believe that I graduated 37 years ago. afraid to admit that, because it still feels like yesterday. Yes, I have been inducted into several Hall of Fames, but getting inducted into the high school, Simsbury High School Hall of Fame is the most meaningful to me. And I will explain that in a moment. First, I want to thank the committee, especially Steve Petrina, because I know he put my name forward, so thank you, Steve, and everyone. Also would like to congratulate the other inductees. Clearly, you're an amazing group and a little bit intimidating to me coming up here after you to speak. I'd also like to thank my mother, 90-year-old mother who is here tonight. She, along with my dad and my sister, were my biggest fans. I also would like to thank my sister and my brother, I said that, and my fellow high school friends here that took the time to come tonight. Thank you. And my boys and my husband, thank you. My path to Simsbury came through Long Island, moving to Simsbury in late August, right before school started. It was a bit of a culture shock. Coming from jeans and leather to wide wale corduroys, pink and green, Izods. I was really a fish out of water here. Fast forward, freshman year, made varsity, which I was psyched about, field hockey. I remember sitting at the dinner table and my brother saying, "Do you think you're gonna start?" And I said, "I don't think so. I'm just happy to be on the team." Fast forward, I did start. I took a senior's position, and the first week of school, I was congratulated by being shoved into a locker, literally. At 5'2", I fit into the locker. So our field hockey teams were amazing, led by the great Joan Sullivan, Sully, who is here tonight. We all loved her. We played hard for her. She was an amazing mentor. I think anyone who played field hockey remembers the image of Sully in her Fair Isle sweaters, cleats, and clipboard. If you did anything wrong, you would be sure to be on that clipboard and you would hear about it in the huddle at halftime. My greatest field hockey memory was our state championship in 1980. We were ranked in the middle of the pack, and we beat Fairfield Ludlow in the quarterfinals in penalty strokes, and then we went on to beat Greenwich in the finals in double overtime. Junior year, we were ranked #1 in the state, undefeated, lost in the first round. Devastating, for sure, but taught us the important lesson: be prepared, don't overlook your opponent. Senior year, we lost the state final to Darien, which is weird now that I've been coaching there for the last 25 years, and I'm reminded of that state championship. Each and every day I walk into the gym and I see that state banner in the gym. Our basketball team was much different than field hockey. We were 500 at best. We struggled to make the playoffs. We wore bright yellow, thick polyester uniforms, which, knowing what the technology is today with the uniforms, if you could imagine running around and sweating in these heavy uniforms, it was clearly hard. However, that didn't mean the games weren't full of excitement. Jack Wilson was an entertaining coach with his thick Boston accent. Most times, we struggled to understand what he was calling in. I will never forget a game my freshman year, and I think this defines Mr. Wilson. He called a timeout, and he's like, "All right, Grizz, you're going to go at the top of the key. We're going to feed the ball into you. You're going to do a spin dribble and go in for a layup. And I'm like, okay, against a 5'10" center? I don't know how that's going to work. But lo and behold, we did it. And we did it 10 times. And we were losing by 15. We won the game by 2. That's a classic Jack Wilson, game plan. But really, really wonderful memories. And my biggest memory or pride, I guess, for me is, as you mentioned, having the 1590 mark, and that was done before the 3-point line. So I'm very proud of that, and hopefully that will stay for many years going forward. I just want to mention, Mr. Wilson wasn't here tonight, but boy, was he a great coach, great soul, positive role model, caring, instructed, praised, and praised you when you deserved it, corrected you when you needed it. My experience in high school as a high school athlete shaped who I was as a player in college, but more importantly, how and why I chose to pursue a career in teaching and coaching. There's no doubt I'm a demanding coach, but I demand the same excellence from my athletes as I do myself. The most important lessons I try to teach my players is unselfishness, loyalty, positive attitude, be good teammates, honesty, work ethic, communication, and most importantly, that no one player is better than we are collectively as a team. I thank Simsbury High for giving me an opportunity to represent them. I thank all the teachers, office personnel, Mr. Broderick, Sully, Mr. Wilson, for having an impact not only on me, but everyone that came through the high school. I will always be a Trojan. Sorry about that. I don't know why I'm so emotional. Finally, I tell my high school athletes every year to enjoy their high school experience, as there is nothing like it. Playing in front of your packed stands, your community, representing your school, school pride, being role models for the next generation. Relish it, respect it. It's over before you know it. Thank you.
I think I mentioned it last year. I did earn one varsity letter at Simsbury. Coach Ray Schwartz was my baseball coach, and the impact is real on those of us who you have coached. It is absolutely real, and a lot of times it doesn't hit until you're a grown-up and you have kids, or you start coaching other kids and you start saying things to them. You say, oh, I know where I got that. So again, thank you to all who have coached in here. Thank you. Kate Townsley Pendergast. I know where her table is now. Kate is a member of the class of 1994, spent 4 years playing soccer and 4 years playing lacrosse, and a couple of years playing basketball. Captain of both the soccer and lacrosse teams. In soccer, Kate was a 3-time All-State player and earned all New England honors as well. Set the school record for most goals in a season. Simsbury won the state championship her junior year in 1992 and was state runner-up her senior season in 1993. In between those two high school seasons, her travel team won the U17 national championship in the summer of '93. In lacrosse, Kate was a member of 4 division champions. Kate broke the all-time school scoring record. She was all league in 1993 and 1994. named to the North-South All-Star Game in 1994, was an honorable mention All-American her junior year, and received All-American honors her senior year. Kate went on to the University of Delaware, played D1 soccer for 4 years and lacrosse for 1. She was captain of the soccer team her senior season. Kate is married to Kevin Pendergast, and as an aside, for those who don't know, Kevin was the soccer standout at Simsbury. He was an All-American. And he was playing at Notre Dame when the Irish football team lost its kicker to injury. Lou Holtz went to the soccer team and said, "Who do you got?" For the benefit of those watching at home, Kate said, "This is my night." So I won't mention that Kevin wound up kicking the game-winning field goal in the 1994 Cotton Bowl. Kate and Kevin are here in town. They've got a couple of sons who apparently have some good genes. Congratulations, Simsbury Trojans 2019 Hall of Fame inductee, Kate Townsley Pendergast.
I kid. I timed myself. I was told 5 minutes. I'm 4 minutes and 38 seconds, I think, if I start now. So good evening, and thank you to the committee for this honor. Thank you to my former coaches, Marty and Pammy. Where's Pam? I've been sitting, yeah? I think it's funny, men call their coaches like Coach Schwartz, Coach such and such. Women call their coaches Marty and Pammy. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you to my colleagues who I work with, who surprised me. To my family and my friends who are here, it means a lot to me to have you here. When Pam called me, I think last spring or in the summer, to tell me I had been nominated for the Hall of Fame, I honestly felt a little embarrassed and awkward about it. To me, being an athlete was something that was always fun, and being an exceptional athlete was likely due to a simple combination of two things that were completely beyond my control: genetics and opportunity. I benefited from the good fortune of being genetically predisposed to be fast, coordinated, and extremely stubborn and willful. All great qualities for an athlete, also all great qualities for a spouse. I imagine great qualities for a spouse, I imagine. I'm thankful for my health and my good genes, but certainly don't think that warrants any sort of an award or recognition. Now let's talk about opportunity, because as I age and experience life, I am profoundly aware of the great fortune to have been born into the circumstances of which I was. To grow up in an affluent community that provided me with any and every opportunity that I could imagine. As a kid, I grew up with an older brother who let me play with him, who included me in sports with his friends, and who made me feel that girls were just as good as boys. I grew up with a mother who quietly encouraged me to be brave, strong, and to take risks. And I grew up with a dad who let me know that I'd have a soft spot to fall every time I failed. I had parents who were willing to drive me to practice and to games, to pay for equipment, for uniforms, for hotels, for tournaments, who let me try out for state teams, premier teams, regional camps, paid for my summer sports camps, traveled throughout the entire East Coast to watch me compete, flew to Arizona to support my dreams when my club team won the national championship. And then they did it all over again, without hesitation, when I went off to the University of Delaware to play. They showed up over and over again, without complaint, without expectations, and without dreams of their own that were embedded in mine. I wanted to talk a little bit about coaches tonight, because in my opinion, coaches are an essential key to the future of this world. They help build and define generation after generation of leaders. We need coaches. They can go places with kids that parents and teachers simply cannot. In an age of ever-increasing helicopter parents, coupled with an expectation of instant gratification and gold trophies just for participating, coaches help build character and resilience in our society. Coaches teach us how to be champions, and as important, they teach us how to lose with grace and humility. They teach us how to define our roles within a team, an organization, or greater society. They teach us how to be disciplined, how to set goals, how to be accountable, how to work through physical fatigue and mental exhaustion. They show us that sometimes in life you just have to do something because that's what it takes to be part of a team. They teach us how to make sacrifices for the things we want. They teach us how to hear and process criticism without falling apart. They make us tough, resilient, and accountable. All qualities that help us through life. Thank you to Marty, to Pam, and to all the coaches who have impacted my life. In closing, when I look at my life, there is a constant thin veil of athletics that gently covers most everything that is dear to me. What I mean by that is that athletics has shaped my life and led me down roads that I cannot imagine unwinding. I wonder sometimes, what would my life be like if not for sports? Who would my friends be? Today, I have with me friends from my childhood. All of them I met through soccer. We have been friends for more than 35 years. We have laughed together, celebrated together, supported each other through job promotions, marriages, births of children. We have leaned on each other through loss of loved ones, through divorces, and through hardships. We are family. We are family who was brought together through a sport. Who would my husband be? And who would my kids be if not for soccer? When I moved to Simsbury in 1984, I had the privilege of playing for the tan team. We were called the Grizzlies. You probably have heard of them. We had a fun-loving, energetic coach named Judy Pendergast. Although Judy knew very little about soccer and was really focused on the having fun part, it is perhaps she, as a coach, who has had the greatest influence on who I am today. I did not know then that our families would be forever tied, that I would one day marry her son, Kevin, a bit of an athlete himself. Still my night. And that together we would have two fun, loving, energetic boys of our own, Nolan and Emmett. Although Judy taught me very little on the soccer field, her true influence was felt on the field of life. She loved her children with a fierceness. She squeezed the fun and laughter out of every opportunity. And when she grew sick, she faced her future with a grace that I hope someday to exhibit myself. She is my first true memory of a coach. I was 8 years old. How lucky am I? So, as I finish writing this, I feel less awkward and uncomfortable about this award because I now see it as not a celebration of my accomplishments as much as it is a celebration of the profound impact that athletics and coaches have had on my life and on so many of our lives. It is a celebration of their relevancy and their need in our society. I am grateful for all the opportunities and all the doors that have been opened due to my athletic career. I am grateful to have the opportunity to say thank you publicly to the coaches, my friends, and my family who have shaped my life. Thank you.
There was a lot in there, but one thing I picked up on was coaches teaching us how to lose gracefully. So now that we're done with the individual athletes, let's move on to the team. And as we segue there, coaches that really never had to teach the kids how to lose gracefully, because we're talking Simsbury Gymnastics. Before UConn women's basketball, before the dream team, there was SHS Gymnastics. In the mid-1980s, our program had one of the more dominating periods in the history of Connecticut athletics. It began a run that would ultimately see 17 state titles for our program. When you think of historical runs, you think UCLA basketball under John Wooden in the 60s and 70s, North Carolina women's soccer in the 80s and 90s, the Boston Celtics for the better part of the 20th century. As a Red Sox fan, I hate to say, the Yankees murderers row, Edmonton Oilers with Wayne Gretzky, there's a whole list we can go through. But you do get to Simsbury Gymnastics. We're honoring the teams from 1983 through 1986. Those 4 teams won 4 league championships, 4 state championships, posted a team record of 52-0, a tournament record of 36-0. Many of our gymnasts obviously went on to successful collegiate careers. Accepting and speaking tonight, Coach Chuck Ford. Congratulations, Simsbury Trojans 2019 Hall of Fame inductees, the Simsbury Gymnastics team.
Thank you very much. On behalf of the outstanding gymnasts that are representing tonight, I want to thank, first of all, the committee and everybody here. This is an outstanding night. So much talent, so much fun. Meeting up with all people that we haven't seen in a long time. I got to look at faces twice. Some people I haven't seen in 30 years, so it's like, I think I know you, but we all kind of age, so we're moving on in life, thank goodness. But I want to particularly thank Bob Broderick and Joe Townsley for all the support that our program had throughout the years. They did an outstanding job of helping keep our program going. Bob in particular was a strong supporter of minor sports. In some cases, some years we had 6 athletes, but we kept the programs going. And we owe a lot of that to Bob Broderick. These teams were amazing talent. We had multiple state champions all around, multiple individual event league champions. There's way too many to list them all. They did an outstanding job. It was my pleasure to be able to coach them and be their leader and let them do all the work. But it was my privilege to do that. And I really want to thank them for all the effort they put in tonight and the committee for this. Thank you very much. This is a really true honor to the Simsbury Gymnastic Program. Thank you.
Coach Joan Sullivan is retired and living in Niantic. And if there's anybody who deserves a relaxing retirement, it's Coach Sullivan. Joan began her tenure in Simsbury in 1954, and she was a teacher and a coach here for the next 37 years. If it was a sport available to female athletes in that era, she coached it. Badminton, basketball, field hockey, softball, tennis, and volleyball. In field hockey, she guided her teams to 8 league titles and 3 state championships. She was the Field Hockey Coach of the Year in 1975. She was inducted into the Connecticut Field Hockey Hall of Fame in 2002. Tennis, she was the Connecticut Tennis Hall of Fame Coach of the Year in 1991. And she'd already been inducted in the Connecticut Tennis Hall of Fame. That happened in 1985. In 1991, Joan was named Connecticut Coach of the Year for her service to female athletics. And in 1999, she was recognized by the Hartford Courant as one of Connecticut's best of the century. Those are awards and honors. Those are tangible, as we have heard here tonight. The impacts, though, that coaches, and in particular Coach Sullivan, has had on students and this community in a career that spanned nearly 4 decades is immeasurable. Congratulations, Simsbury Trojans 2019 Hall of Fame inductee, Joan Sullivan.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Good evening. Ooh. Everyone, my name is Joan Sullivan. Wait a minute, I lost my place here. I enjoyed teaching and coaching students for 35 years in the Simsbury public school system, as well as working with all the wonderful faculty. There are many lasting memories I will not forget. I would like to leave you with these words from athlete and coach Jim Vilvano that helped me throughout my career and into retirement. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. Thank you again for this honor, and a special thanks to Walt Zalaski for his encouragement and for helping me to be here this evening. Also, I want to thank my family and their love and support in receiving this award. Thank you.
We honor athletes and teams for their accomplishments, coaches as well, but none of the success happens in a vacuum, as we know. Support from administration is crucial. We are very fortunate to have that currently in Simsbury, and it was certainly the case in the 1970s, 80s, and 90s as well. Bob Broderick's tenure as athletic director actually began when Kojak and Sanford & Son were on TV. And he was still here when Survivor hit the scene. Bob was our athletic director from 1973 to 2000. Bob's mission for the program was to give every student, male and female, an opportunity to participate in a sport. As he has said, the program had to be right for the best and right for the rest. During his tenure, the Simsbury High School athletic program expanded from 14 to 34 sports. 50 state championships were claimed in 14 different sports. Simsbury won the Connecticut Michaels Cup 4 times. That's an award that was created in the mid-'80s for measuring outstanding athletic programs in Connecticut. Bob received multiple honors for his work. He was the Nike Athletic Director of the Year. He was named Athletic Director of the Year in 1987 by the Connecticut High School Coaches Association. He was a founding father of the Connecticut Association of Athletic Directors. In 1998, he was honored with their Distinguished Service Award. And in 2016, Bob was a member of the inaugural class inducted into the Connecticut Association of Athletic Directors Hall of Fame. For more than a quarter of a century, he oversaw a program here at Simsbury that was right. Accepting the award on his behalf is our current athletic director, Jeff Pinney. Congratulations, Simsbury Trojans 2019 Hall of Fame inductee, Broderick.
Thank you, everyone. Bob sends his regards from Florida. Don't feel too bad for him. He just got back from a 25-day cruise through the Amazon, which is why he couldn't be here tonight. He wanted me to share just one thing with everyone here tonight. None of what he accomplished was accomplished by himself. Everything that he was able to do was because of the wonderful community that he was a part of, the thousands and thousands of people around him, the coaches, the athletes, the students, the administration, the community of Simsbury are what made him successful. Thank you very much. Dinner will be served. Please wait for your tables to be called. Have another drink. Thank you so much. Congratulations to all the inductees.
Funding for Simsbury Community Television is provided in part by contributions from viewers like you. Thank you.